Yep. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining in the session. So, now before I proceed on with the session, I just would like to introduce myself. Myself, Pranav, from the product management team of Vembu. And with me, I do have a co-organizer here, Mr. Manigandan. He is also similarly from the same team, and we both head on the product management team together. Now, yeah. So yeah, we still see people joining in, a lot more to join in. Happy on that. So people, today the session is going to be related to the webinar on the latest release of version 9.10. And now in the website has been named as 910 U2 because we did do small tweaks on 2 days of time gap. So it is directly, you can download the YouTube build for that purpose, and people who are using the cloud version of BDRShield can have the latest version to be already available for you. Okay, so yeah, let's jump in to see what what things are newly added to the version 9.10. Now, once again, I would like to thank everyone for joining in this session. I believe the the presentation of mine is visible. So on that note, I'm just proceeding further. And also people, as a ground rules of the session, I just wanted to keep you noted that this webinar is going to be only in the listen only mode. And you also have a Q&A session at the end. So during that Q&A, you can post up your questions in the Q&A box that is right about to you. And we have a team to answer that. If that is not answered, please don't worry. We'll be sending you an email to the registered mail ID. Okay, but make sure you are accessible to the registered mail ID, because we would be sending it directly to the registered mail ID alone. Okay, fine. So proceeding further, I do see a lot of new people who join in, so I'll just give them some inputs about what we do and what is our company dealing with, and then I'll jump into the exact title of the webinar. But to start with, see, BDRShield is a product by Vembu. Okay, and this is a webinar related to the latest version of BDRShield, which is version 9.10. And the reason that we are having a bigger release webinar for this is it has inclusive of it is now a package encapsulated with smarter backup operations for distributed IT environments. Okay, rather than native backup type, it is now gonna be a widespread one, and that is how we have managed things up with our latest release. So the tagline, as it says, it's localized processing. You have a complete resilience with smarter backup operations. For people who don't know about Vembu, maybe like the newer ones who have joined in, I just wanted to keep them posted that BDRShield is a product by Vembu. So this Vembu Technologies is a company which has been into this business for more than 2 decades, with our footsteps in 100 plus countries, and we have a global partner base of around 4,000 plus. Okay, our vision or mission, to be in specific, is to provide an enterprise class backup solution at a cost effective price range for the businesses. Either it could be an SMB or mid-range businesses, or it could be an enterprise class business, but at a cost effective price range, what all the features that we can pack in and give, that is what we are concentrating on. So this is what the Vembu Technologies has been doing it for more than 2 decades in this market. Okay, now let's start with the webinar agenda. So we are going to discuss about what's new in the version 9.10 and how it is going to be satisfying your distributed backup optimization, the stronger resilience and recovery, operational intelligence, how it has been handled. And I will be giving you a small live demonstration. I won't say it is a complete demo, but it is going to be a small overview of the features. Okay, for a one-on-one demo with a more in-depth detailing about the features, we can have a individual head-on-head demonstration session. You can reach out to our sales team for that, and they'll help you on it. And we'll have some time. If we have some time, I would love to answer all your questions in this session itself. If not, you'll get it over the chat, or we'll be sending you an email, as I said previously. So this is the plan for today. I hope everything goes well, and I'll try to finish it up as soon as possible, the theory session, so that I can hear to a lot of your questions. Now, let's talk about why this version 9.1 plan came into the reality. So we did have a backup challenge. Okay, so that is something that we need to agree. Previously, we did have a backup challenge. That is because the traditional backup architectures are struggling a lot. As a backup solution provider, we did face some of the concerns of it. Okay, and those are, I'll tell you why this is becoming a struggle today. The traditional backup architecture is becoming a struggle today. That is the master server model. Master slave model is becoming a huge issue today. So let's discover why that is happening. That is because all the IT environments are becoming distributed across multiple locations. You have a hybrid with physical, virtual, cloud, and edge workloads, because a hybrid model is widely used across, and larger, that is, I would say, like huge backup data size. When it is going to be transferred over the WAN, it is surely hitting up the traffic. So that is why it's becoming a bigger struggle today. Okay, and operational complex. The environment becomes complex, which will obviously end up for the users to have a complex architecture, and operation for that is going to be obviously the common the hectic one for them. So what are the challenges that we are facing because of this distributed, hybrid, and larger backup data volume? The major challenges are centralized backup bottlenecks that isn't working properly. If you're going to have a one central server and then back up everything to that central server, that server is not going to keep up the the performance. It is going to crash down any further way, and the slow backup performance will happen over the WAN, because if it is going to be a distributed environment connecting you via a VPN or via a LAN, for example, let's consider endpoints. If it is going through via a LAN, the backup data, it's going to be slow, and operational visibility is going to be very limited, because you can't see what is happening at all, because each time you have a crash, then initial backup transfers, which is the one which I said, a huge backup data, like this is an incremental type of backup. The first backup is going to be a full backup, obviously. So that full backup to be transferred from one location to another location, they're obviously going to hit upon larger resources, right? And manual ticketing and monitoring, and if it is going to be complex, how is that you're going to monitor? So these are the challenges that people face. Like, you have an IT environment which is distributed, hybrid, which larger backup data to be larger data that will be taken up backup. If these are the IT environments, then you will face a common challenges as such. Obviously, I can't cut short on environment, because environment is something that would be scalable. I can't cut short on it. But the challenges, I can overcome on the challenges. So what do I need? So the need to overcome those challenges are, let me talk about the thing which is direct over here. I would like to point out here. So here you see the organizations would require a localized processing. So it doesn't mean all the data has to be taken up backup and sent to the server and then it has to be stored in the storage. No, there should be a localized processing, an easy way of backup. The backup should be a process that is happening at the backend and should not restrain on the resources. And it should be a scalable architecture. Wherever I give, either hybrid, either locally or multiple distributed environments, I should be able to manage things. Better resilience and faster recovery readiness are something that goes hand in hand. So your data should be always available. That helps you to bring back that backup data should be available for you all times. That helps you to bring back to your nominal position at times of disaster. Okay. And automation, everything should be automated. We don't need any intervention manual. So that is something the organizations would require to ensure or to overcome those common challenges that you're facing. So that literally means the backup solution which I'm going to suggest should be having all these features or all these the detailing, so that it is able to satisfy your requirement. On that note, dear ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to introduce you to the BDRShield version 910, which is designed completely for modern distributed backup environments. Okay, the key focus of this version 910 was, because it is already released, so I'm talking about the past tense which was happening when we were trying to design this up. So we need to tackle things of distributed backup optimization, the secondary backup option. So that is where you have a better resilience or redundancy of your backup data, faster deployment workflows. It should never take your time for long, better operational intelligence. It should have a better intelligence. Never always keep you posting with some random results that gets you confusing. Okay. And expanded virtualization support. What all the virtualization platforms you have, it should have a latest one supported. And automation improvements. So for the MSPs, that's widely for MSPs, I would say, some of the automation improvements that we have added into, but majorly with the monitoring purpose. But that is not only for MSP, but it's also useful for the enterprise grade IT admins as well. Okay, so this on note, you have something at the border end which says that backup operation through local processing and stronger data resilience is what we had as a major goal to satisfy the users' common challenges. Okay, and that is done through this version 910 of BDRShield. Moving on to the next slide, my dear ladies and gentlemen. Now we'll be talking about the new features or the improvements that we have made in the version 910. Please do have a note of it very closely, because this is what we are going to discuss in the latest slides as such. See, there is a new addition of server proxy, or people who have been using BDRShield 820 would come across a word called server proxy. And this server proxy is a light agent, or I would say extended version of the backup server itself. So this would be helping you to take a backup of your remote virtual environments. It is not only that, it also has a writer facility within it. So this server proxy will also be acting as a storage proxy. So for example, if you have data, let's consider if you have a data or the production site at site A and you have a storage site at site B. Now you can install the backup server at your production site if required, and you take a backup of that data and have that data to be stored in your site B. Okay, so it also writes the data, that is the server proxy is also a storage proxy. It can act as also a storage proxy. So one copy you write it in site B, and another copy we wanted to write it in site C, even that is possible. So that is the server proxy for you. Okay, it is supportive of data reader as well as the data writer. If it is data reader, it is for the virtual environments of VMware, Hyper-V, Proxmox and KVM. it has the remote virtual environmental supports. Okay, and then that's about the server proxy for you. More in detail, I'll just explain in the slide that comes up. And we have enhanced the dashboard, because understanding the monitoring for people of the backups that is happening at the backend, the backup processing that is happening at the backend, we have prepared a dashboard which is more intuitive, which gives you the insights about your backup usage, the repository metrics, the agent status, the backup health status. All that are incorporated into one single dashboard. Now, previously we were having an intuitive reporting, but now that we have incorporated everything in a dashboard, that's going to be more effective for you and more useful for you. Now, regarding the backup copy, for people who have been using the BDRShield on-prem management console, you must have come across the backup copy feature, because that enables you to have a copy of the backup data in a different location, and that could be a different medium as well. Okay, different storage medium. It could be a cloud, or it could be an on-prem, whatever it is. But for the on-prem, we did on-prem management console, we did support backup copy for image-based backups, VM level backups, and so on. But now we have also provided for granular level of backups, that is file folder level backups also. Now this backup copy feature is newly added in the BDRShield cloud console. Okay, previously it was an on-prem, but in the cloud we didn't have this backup copy feature. Now we have introduced the backup copy feature for the cloud. In the on-prem, we have extended the backup copy feature even for file folder level backups. Okay, this backup copy is completely for the data redundancy. Next is the PSA Tool Integrations. Like, we have people who are using will know that we have already integrated with ConnectWise. You have the ability to integrate with ConnectWise. Now we have also added the auto task. So since that application is widely used, Autotask is widely used, equate to ConnectWise. Autotask for reporting and all the activities can be created as a ticket, automatic ticket, using this PSA tools, which is integrated within the solution itself for both on-prem as well as for the cloud. And Offsite Seeding is a feature that is specifically for the on-prem, where if you are using the offsite DR server of BDRShield to have a copy of your backup data in an offsite location, not like a backup copy, it's completely an offsite copy. So this offsite copy would be useful even if your backup server completely crashes down. You'll still be able to restore your data from the offsite DR server. So that is what it means. So this offsite seeding, for initial huge amount of backup data to be transferred, you can do a seeding process. Just have a data for the endpoints or database backups to be downloaded to a drive, and then move that drive or ship that drive to the offsite DR site and attach it to the offsite DR server. Automatically, the rest of the incrementals would be replicated to the offsite DR site, but the huge data will be shipped and moved to the offsite location using the seeding process. Okay, so this is about the offsite seeding, which is only for the on-premises, and we have extended a support for the version 9.1 of the Proxmox as well. So that is also something that has been added into the version 9.10. So to put things together, these are all the features that has been improved or introduced into the version 9.10 of both on-prem as well as for the cloud solutions, cloud management concepts. Okay, so this is something that we are dealing with, and this is what in detail that we are going to see in the next slides that comes in. Okay, so moving further, now we'll talk about the BDRShield server proxy. Now people, as you could see, this is the major challenges that we had to introduce the server proxy. Okay, so because distributed environments, you have the WAN bottlenecks, you have the central backup server to get overloaded if you're going to transfer your backup data, everything to the central server, and the backup window obviously will increase. It won't finish at the exact timeline because the slowness of the data being transferred, and production workloads will get impacted because the resources are consumed. Okay, this is the challenge. And for that, we came up with the solution using the server proxy, where you will have, which I said, it is both as a data reader as well as data writer. So that is a key component here. So that server proxy will ensure local data processing. It will process the data and write the data wherever you point it to. Even if you want to write the data locally or to a different storage, it would point it to that. It will control on WAN dependency. Yeah, it is using the WAN, but it will process the data here itself. The server proxy itself, it doesn't have to send the data to the BDRShield centralized management console, okay, or centralized server, we call it as. And then you will have the scalability function to be raised to the level of betterment, and you have a centralized monitoring and management, everything using this server proxy. So here, as you could see, this server proxy is actually, first initial task is to act as a data reader. Okay, it takes a backup of your virtual environments, like as I said, the workloads are mentioned here, like VMware, Hyper-V, KVM, and Proxmox. It will read the backup data here, it will process the backup data, and then write the data to the pointed storage. And this can also act as a data writer. For example, you are taking a backup of multiple endpoints, and you want that endpoints to have the backup of the endpoints to be stored in a different data center. There you can use the server proxy because it grabs the data from the location and writes the data to the pointed storage. So this server proxy, that's what I said, is both a reader as well as a writer. So that is what it is doing it. And here you could see in the architecture that is shown, this is the central management console of the BDRShield. This is where you will configure all your backups, restores, all your monitoring will be done from this console. This is the only console that you have. And each of your site, you can install the server proxy. And for taking a backup of your workloads, you can use this server proxy. It will take a backup of these workloads. And you can either write the data to the local storage at that site or to a remote storage on site 3 or a different site. Okay. So this naturally helps you to get the centralized benefit of faster backups, lower bandwidth, central server management, better scalability. You can add the server proxy in multiple sites and you can try taking a backup, and centralized visibility from one single console. You don't have to check on each of the server proxy because the server proxy doesn't have a console by itself. Okay, everything would be seen only from this centralized management console, and this is what the server proxy architecture is. And the data reader and data writer feasibility of the server proxy satisfies most of the distributed environments required. Okay, so that is a point here. Even for the cloud version of BDRShield users, you can use the server proxy to take a backup of your virtual environments and decide where you want to store the data. Okay, so that is a point here in the server proxy architecture. So next, the enhanced dashboard that the BDRShield has. Now, as you could see, people, the new dashboard is capable of showing you the backup usage insights, the storage visibility, utilization visibility of the storage, what or the backups that has consumed a lot, and the backup health. You can see the backup gaps and protection overview, what is the backup activity that is done, any agents that is disconnected or connected, and you can also see the agents that is up to date or not. Okay, so all these are shown now in one single console. Instead of showing you in 3 different reports, everything is now directly into one single console. Okay, now why this is a very important one, because it is you can see that directly. It is quick enough to identify if there is a backup failure or not. So it is directly shown up over here, and you have a better operational awareness. What is happening at the back end? How what is the top consumption of the storage that is being taken by which backup jobs, that can be seen. And you also have the troubleshooting time that has been lessened. You don't have to check everything from the reports and then come and report. No, you don't have to do that. You can see it directly. And here's a notification that you can enable that. It will show you the notification also. Okay, so these are directly shown in this dashboard, which is very important for an IT admin perspective or for an MSP perspective. Okay. Next, we'll talk about the backup copy feature. So, see, a backup copy, the redundancy of having a copy of your backup data is very important, because the primary backups alone would not be sufficient. Because if that storage where you have stored your primary copy of the backup data, if that is corrupted, if there is a hit of a my dear people, ransomware, hackers are now targeting more on the backup storage. Okay. So you have to be very careful in this. Hardware failures, if there is a the NAS box is failed or whatever it is, the complete site is outage, how can you restore your data? Only when you have multiple copies like backup copy or an offsite copy, you can your backup for you. Okay. So this BDRShield, it will give you secondary backup copies to manage your disaster recovery readiness and data redundancy, and it will also satisfy your compliance requirement. Okay, so it is always advised to have 3-2-1 backup policy, like 3 copies of a data to be stored in 2 different storage medium and 1 to be in offsite copy. I would say 3-2-1-1 also. So 1 copy you can also have as an immutable copy. Okay, so that would be the more secured one for you. Now, regarding the backup copy workflow, as you could see, you need to select the destination where you want to store, store the copy of the backup data. Next, you need to schedule the options, like how frequently you want to have that copy of the backup data. You can set a separate retention for that, and then the copy will take, backup copy process will trigger, and it will get stored automatically in the respective storage medium. Okay, so it can be a local to local, local to a remote location, or local to from one remote location to another remote location, or from a cloud to cloud as well. Okay, it's more like a hybrid work. So you will have all the business benefits here. It's not something that I need to specifically mention. The major one is data redundancy will help you to cut short on your operational risk. You have an isolated backup from your primary site. Even at the time of disaster, you can restore it. Faster recoveries and improved resilience. That is what we can ensure having a backup copy. So next we are talking about the PSA tools. Now I was already told, I already informed that the ConnectWise integration and Autotask integration to the BDRShield, both on-prem and cloud, as provide you an complete automation of ticket generation. Backup or recovery workflow automation can be triggered as a ticket. Incident management can be noted. If there is any failures, it will immediately show it up. Faster operational response can also be ensured. This would be benefiting only for the MSPs. Then I could post it to an IT admin, but this would be more feasible for MSPs, because that is going to cut short on their manual effort, streamlined operations. Customer support would be highly automated, and better SLA that they could manage off. So these are the main points for MSPs, I would say, to integrate it with some of the PSA tools integrations. And finally, before final, I would like to talk about the seeding of your offsite data, which is the one that I said. See, backup copy is having a copy of your backup data, and similarly, offsite copy is having a copy of your backup data in an offsite location. Okay, in a completely offsite location from your production site. So what happens is, even if your the backup server crashes down, because backup copy can be restored only using the backup server, whereas offsite copy can be restored using the offsite. Yeah, it doesn't require the offsite backup server anymore. So on that note, offsite seeding is only for the on-prem. So all your initial backups like endpoints, databases, large workloads will consume excessive bandwidth when it is replicating a data from the production's backup server site to offsite site. Okay, offsite location. So what happens is, if it is like, for example, let's consider the full backup is around 4 TB. Now that 4 TB of data, it has to be traveling over the WAN. Maybe it is VPN enabled, but still, if it is traveling over the WAN, how long it will take? Okay, so it is gonna be taking around 1 day or so to have the complete full backup to be seeded. And then here it is an incremental backup. Daily there's going to be coming an incremental backup. If there's 1 day for a complete full backup, then how long it is going to be transferring the data? It will miss up some chains as well. So that is why this offsite seeding was introduced. So as you could see here, from the source environment, you'll be writing down the data to a disk or a pen drive, whatever it is, and you will be shipping that to the offsite location, that is your target location. When the offsite DR server, you just plug in that disk, and that will have the it will take the full backup from that, and afterwards from the backup server only the incremental backups will be replicated to the offsite server. Okay, so this is the seeding process. Now here's a workflow for that. So you need to export it and transfer it physically, import it to the offsite DR server, and then you automatically your incremental backups will flow. Okay, so doing this, it is a faster one. As I said, it is going to be very faster operation, reduces bandwidth usage, faster offsite backup initialization, better for larger data sets, not for the smaller one, but larger data set. And for distributed or remote environments, this would be very advantageous. Okay, so that is a major one. Okay, and the use cases are limited bandwidth and large database environments are secured. So this is the major one that you could see with the offsite seeding, and this is only for the on-prem management console. You'll have this feature available. Now the support for virtual environment of Proxmox 9.1. So see, as far the BDRShield is concerned, we support both standalone as well as a clustered version of Proxmox. Now the latest 9.1 version of Proxmox is also supported. Now as you could see, like, you can try taking a backup of the Proxmox from the backup server and have that stored in a remote location or an offsite location as well, using the server proxy, obviously. So this is going to be a complete snapshot level backup, and as I said, a cluster environment is also supported. Even if your Proxmox is in a remote site, for people who are using the cloud version of the BDRShield, if you want to back up your Proxmox, you can very well install the server proxy and you can try taking a backup of that. It supports multiple recovery options. Okay, those recovery options are mentioned here. So taking a backup of your Proxmox at a VM level means you can perform instant recoveries like instant boot VM. That is something that we have. Permanent recoveries like full VM recovery to the another Proxmox environment, and then a granular recovery. Any file and folder can be restored granularly as well. So it is going to improve your virtualization coverage. Basically, 9.1 support is improving your virtualization coverage. It is already enterprise ready because a lot of people are moving to Proxmox now, and it supports standalone as well as a clustered and remote side. So it is managing all scales of businesses like SMBs, mid-range, as well as the enterprises. Better deployment flexibility and compatibility with latest ones will always serve your purpose automatically. So previously we were supporting the version, the Proxmox environment. Now clustered support for Proxmox came in previous release. Now the version 9.1 support for the Proxmox has added a more of advantage, and you can write this backup data any multiple storage locations. There's no limitation on that. So that is something that is being added up here. Okay, so these are the major features that is being released in the BDRShield. Now let's see where these features are in a live demo. Let's see, as I said, this live demo is going to be completely an overview. So I'm just going to show you where these features are and how you can do that. So I'm not going to configure things for you, but just an overview things. But more in-depth demo we can have with one-on-one session. Okay. So without much further ado, I'll just take a console of mine. Okay. So now that I'm sharing you the BDRShield console, I believe everyone is able to see this. Okay. So this is a centralized management console which I set. So I'm just logging in with the default username and password we have, admin and admin. So this is my main console of the BDRShield. Okay. So as you all people know, this BDRShield is one single pane of window from which you can configure the backups for your entities. So that could be a servers and endpoints, a virtualization host like VMware, Hyper-V, Proxmox, KVM over it. SaaS applications like Microsoft 365, Google Workspace, databases like MS SQL, MySQL, PostgreSQL, NAS or file share you can backup, and the cloud workloads like AWS EC2 instance and Azure VMs can be taken up back. Now repository, you can decide where you want to store the data. Either you can store your data in your own local storage, or it can be on your own cloud storage. Now let's talk about the storage first, because this is having a resemblance with the server proxy as well. So when you're creating a backup storage, you have something called as data processed by. If it is BDRShield server, it is the old traditional way where all the backup data will be flowing to the BDRShield server, this backup server, and then it will proceed. Local agent is only for your servers and endpoints. Server proxy is going to play the major role that you said. Okay, so here is where you just need to give the repository name. You can add a server proxy, but before that you need to download the server proxy, install the server proxy on that particular environment where you wanted to access the storage, install it over there. We have both Windows and Linux versions of server proxy here. Install it there, map it up over here. Either it could be a direct drive or a network drive of the server proxy. I can add it up. Even if it is a network drive, you need to follow all these instructions. Have the details process here, the drive path, the username. Like you have any managed network drives, you can add it up, save it, and that will be listed down here. Select the server proxy and create it. Okay, so what happens is the data which is being taken a backup will be stored using the server proxy itself. Okay, so that's the point here for the block storage which I said. Okay, now let's talk about the object storage. Object storage, here is the one. Now again, here data processed by, also you have BDRShield server, local agent. BDRShield server is the centralized management server again. Local agent is for your servers and endpoints, because in each of the servers and endpoints you will be installing an agent. And server proxy is again what I said. So you need to install the server proxy on the specified location, and that from that server proxy the data will be sent to the cloud. So it could be your own Amazon S3 cloud or your S3 compilation, Azure blob storage, or Google, or as I said, any of your S3 compatibles like Wasabi, Min.io, etc. You can use it to store there. If you're using the cloud version of BDRShield, you'll get to store the data even in the BDRShield cloud storage. Now, so as you could see, the server proxy is something that you can download from those locations. Now, other than that, you can go to BDR proxy. Here you also have server proxy. Here is where you add your server proxy. As I said, you can download the server proxy, install it on an environment, a remote environment or something, where it has an access to the virtualization host. Now I have added my Debian machine as well as a Hyper-V host here. I've added the hypervisors, like there are 3 hypervisors, like this one server proxy is dealing with 2 VMware virtual machines and 1 Hyper-V host, and the Linux version is dealing with 2 VMware virtual machines here. Okay, well, these are something that I have already added from the server proxy, and using the server proxy I can configure the backup. I'll just go to configure backup, virtual machines, VMware, create a VM backup. I'm choosing the repository. So repository, if I've added the server proxy, that details will be shown here. So here it is. I'm choosing one. As you can see, the server proxy. Submit it and then proceed. Then list down the virtual machines. Select any particular virtual machine. Proceed, and all that is the rest of the things are going to be similar. Okay. After that, once you save the data, the backup process will be handled by the server proxy and not by the backups. This centralized management console of the backup server. Clear? And when you try to restore the backup data, again the data is fetched via the server proxy. This is very important over here, and this is how your server proxy is working. So you can download the server proxy. You have the BDR proxy, and here you have the server proxy here. So you can download the server proxy to back up your virtual environments of VMware, Hyper-V, Proxmox, and KBM. Okay. Over it we have not supported, but all others are supported here. Clear? So this is how the server proxy is going to be acting towards. Okay, both for the writer as well as for the reader. Once done with the server proxy, I wanted to give you a small detail. I'll even show you things that are configured via the server proxy. So we have the virtual machine here, which is configured via the server proxy, and that is list backup. It will be showing in the list backup job section. When you restore the data, you won't be having any problem at all. It will directly fetch the data and start a HV proxy. So which I can try restoring, and again you will have the similar restore options, as you can see. Like I've stored it in cloud, so I'm seeing the full VM recovery, download disk, and file level recovery for you in the server proxy. Clear? And that's the option here. Now regarding the dashboard. So as you could see, this dashboard is more intuitive, where it gives you a detail about. First, let me start from the top. You'll see the agents are up to date 100%. It is all relative things. You can refresh and see. Any agents that is being disconnected? No. I can refresh. Any jobs in progress? Nothing so far. If there is anything in progress, I can click through it and I can see. Now even the infrastructure overview. So how many servers and endpoints that I've added, how many Hyper-V machines or KVM machines, VMware databases, or Microsoft 365, what all I've added, everything would be shown up here. Even if I want to exclusively see those details, I can click upon here to see those details. These are the endpoints that has been added. Okay, and here these are the VMware vSpheres that has been added. Those details are here. Hyper-V. Here is the Hyper-V details that has been added. If you further want to view some details, you can view the details. That will take you to another tab. Okay. So those details are there. And now here is a protection overview. So here you could see what all is being successful. So all these green lines shows that 45 things are success. So here all the endpoints or 14 endpoints has been success. So when you click it, you will see the reports. You can even expand the reports to see that. Okay, for each of the backup job. And one more thing, people, now each of the schedule, whatever that is for the servers and endpoints specifically, files and folders, whatever the files that is being backed up in that particular schedule can even be exported as a CSV file. That's an enhancement. Okay, you can download that CSV file to see the file list that has been taken up back. Clear? Okay, so that's something that we have added, and here you can specifically see what all environments have been taken up backup, and if there is any no run or any failure, you can see which has been not running. Okay, so a backup job named BC is not been running because the added host is being deleted. That's why it is not running. Okay, that's something that we have. So if there is a failure, under the failure link, you just click it, you will be able to see what has been failed. So the backup gaps, if there is any backup gaps that is happening, even that you can see. Excuse me. So here's a filter. If it is for last 2 days or 24 hours or today, you can just change it accordingly, and you can see what has been failed, and as through it you can see the latest report also. Okay, if there is any failure, it will be shown up here. Previously it was a failure there, but now it is all running fine. So here's the backup activity for the past 24 hours. For the past 24 hours, it has been successful. And latest view, there is one no backup that has been happening. Okay. Now this is the repository consumption. So all these are this is a block storage. The one in blue is block storage. The other one is completely is going to be object storage. So the repository details are given here. You can see what is the size that is being taken. The compressed size and details also will be shown here in this section. Okay, so total 8 repositories that has been created. You can check on that. And what has been consumed higher, like I can check which particular backup job has consumed higher here. So all those detail is also visible over here. So this is an intuitive backup dashboard, or you can even download this dashboard for your local purpose or local auditing purpose, which is required. Okay. Now let's talk about the backup copy feature. For the backup copy, you just need to go to the secondary copy and DR option. In cloud, it will be secondary copy alone. So you can go to backup copy. Now create new backup copy job. In the job type, previously you had the Microsoft Windows, VMware and Hyper-V, but now recently we have added up the files and folders as well. Okay, so this is something that we have added up newly in the files and folders. Yeah, so this is the same even in the cloud version of BDRShield. Backup copy itself is a new feature in the cloud, and you will have the files and folders for that as well. The files and folders copy as well as the disk image backup cloud version. Okay, so this is the backup copy feature for you. And here, once you configure the backup copy, you can decide where you want to store that backup data. That's something that is very important for you. Next, reporting. As I said, in the reporting, we have introduced connect-wise ticketing on auto task ticketing. So either of the options that you can choose for the MSP specifically, you can add your ticketing configurations here. Just give a name to it. You have your auto task account. You can add the account with all your API username and a secret key with the credential name, and you need to test the connectivity. Once done, the account will be added. You can select the company names from that, and is it for all tenants or any particular tenant you want to use it, you can use it. This is majorly for the MSPs alone, for the MSPs who is using the tenant-wise architecture. Okay, so once done, now we'll talk about the offsite seeding. Only in the on-prem version of the offsite DR, backup server, you will have the offsite DR configuration, in which seeding is also an option, seeding backup data manually. So if you're going to do this, steps to seed. So you have a complete step to seed your backup data, how to seed your backup data. All these steps are given manually here. So you just need to enable this. Enable this, click here. If there is any task that you wanted to add it to seeding, just enable and seed backup data. If it is more than how much of a GB or TB you want to go, just give it as 10 GB data. You can go to 1 TB also, no problem with that. So if it's gone to seed, obviously this task will come up. Okay, now you can give a start task. It will start exporting that data to the local storage. Okay, and that you can copy it to a pen drive or to an external disk, and then move it to a offsite location and attach it to the offsite DS server. And once you attach it, only the full backup would be seeded. The next is all the incrementals that will flow automatically. Okay, so that is the point of having this offsite seeding here. Now that said, it is even available for endpoints backup as well as database backups. Okay, so that's the offsite seeding here, and the support for version the 9.1 for Proxmox. As I said, for Proxmox we don't have any restriction on either it is a standalone or cluster node. You can just use this option. You can either push the agent automatically, or you can download the agent manually and install it on the respective machine. Okay, so that's something important from the end. Okay, so this is about the new features that we have in the latest version of BDRShield. So yeah, that's something that I wanted to let you know. So it is a short, I know that it is a short demo. It's just an overview that I wanted to give you people. So it is obviously short, and for a one-on-one session to understand the features very clearly, or you need a live more depth and live demo, you can always reach out to us for a one-on-one session, a demo session. We'll be available to head you with that. Next, you have the Q&A session for you. Now I'll just open the Q&A box. You can post all your questions there. We'll be trying to answer those questions. The meanwhile, I'll discuss about the future roadmap for the features that is going to come in the BDRShield. So as you could see, people, we are going to work upon more of a centralized management console. As I said, that is what we are focusing on. So the scalability, automation efficiency, the compatibility with multiple platforms, and backup, a future ready backup strategy is what we are following upon. Okay, so next we are working on self-service capabilities that's mainly useful for the MSPs as well as some of the IT admins in the organizations. So individual users can restore their data or configure their backups, mainly for the MSPs with the self-service capability, and all their consumption, backup storage consumption, all that can be visible by the MSP under the dashboard itself. So there's going to be a hell of a lot of enhancement towards the self-service capabilities for backup, recovery, and recovery on demand request. Okay, next we are working our heads off to support the Nutanix AHV, because there are a lot of requirements from you people. So our team is working on for the support of a VM level backup for Nutanix, both backup and recovery for the Nutanix virtual machines, with similar restore options what we provide for other hypervisors as of now. And then we are also, see, KVM is not widely used. We started to support KVM for a long time, but There are some virtualization managers in response with KVM, like Cloud Stack and OpenStack. So my team is also working on that. So we are trying to integrate directly with Cloud Stack and OpenStack to ensure a VM level backup, and so that it has a direct recovery to the Cloud Stack platform itself. That's something that we are working on. And as you see, there's mainly for the BDRShield Cloud Console, we are going to have this backup copy feature also available for the VM backups. Now, what you saw is in on-prem management console of BDRShield, you had that features. Now we are going to support that for the cloud. As of now, in the cloud version of BDRShield, we have supported file folder backups and disk image backups. We'll be supporting VM backup copy feature for VM backups as well. Okay, so that is for the BDRShield cloud. Our ultimate aim is to continue investing in scalability, automation, and broader platform support, and that is where we are heading towards. Okay, and there are more security related features are also adding up. So stay tuned with us related to the roadmap. Follow our WhatsApp channel. You can search for BDRShield in WhatsApp channel. You will find us. You can follow us for day-to-day updates. And if you wanted to have any new update or just check on new features, you can always visit our website, or you can just reach out to our teams, and they'll be there to guide you on the respective thing. We have the 30 days of free trial still, so you can try using your product. And if you want to contact us related to partnership or for technical support or for demo, you can always reach out to us through this emails. We are always available. You can even reach out to us via the website. We'll be there for you, guide you on the product or the detailings that is required. It was wonderful again to meet you all in person through this webinar session. Wonderful. Have a great day. Have a safe environment of IT as well as your society. Take care. Bye-bye. Love you all. Stay tuned to BDRShield for the latest new updates. Thank you so much.